So this has actually been the shock of free agency. Like, I'm being dead serious here. This is the shock of free agency. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The shock of free agency is the fact that the Fever signed their backup point guard. And it might be one of the best vets in the entire WNBA. The Fever have signed Sydney Coulson. The Fever have signed Sydney Coulson, two-time WNBA champion Sydney Coulson. The X factor for the 2023 champion Aces Sydney Coulson. Yes, Sydney Coulson coming towards the end of her career. But it's Sydney Coulson. If you agree this is an unbelievable signing, subscribe. We're trying to hit 42,650 by the end of the day. But like, this is an unbelievable signing. This is unbelievable. Because this is a player who will, whether she gives you 25 seconds or 20 minutes, is going to go and give you the same effort. She'll give you the same effort. She'll play the same way. She plays her ass off. She'll guard. She can hit shots. She hits big shots. She plays well in big possessions. Whether she gives... And this is the perfect thing for a backup. Someone who, knowing how many minutes Caitlin Clark is going to play, knowing how many minutes Kelsey Mitchell is going to play, knowing how good the good the wings are on this team. They literally just signed Sydney Coulson, which is huge. This is the biggest shock. No one would have guessed Sydney Coulson. Yet people said no one was signing. So, what have they signed? They have signed one of Age's favorite teammates. They have signed Dewana freaking Bonner. They signed Sophie Cunningham. And they signed Natasha Howard. Like, what a free agency. Oh my god. Like, again, Sydney Coulson's not young. I mean that. Like, you will look at Sydney Coulson's points per game and just be like, oh, Sydney Coulson's not going to bring anything. No. It's all about, like, she's 35. It's all just about what they do in their minutes. So Sydney Coulson, 2.8 points per game. You might be, again, saying, oh, she sucks. Like, no. Sydney Coulson can give you so much in so little. And that's the thing with Coulson. Against the Liberty, 4 points in 6 minutes in one of those games. She comes in and will just occasionally, it doesn't matter where she's playing, 12 minutes, like 19th, in the regular season, she had 13 points in the last game of the season. She can shoot the three ball well. Like, doesn't take that many shots. Had 8 points in 9 minutes against the Liberty, 6 points in 11 minutes, 13 minutes, 18 minutes, 10 minutes. Like, depending on her minutes, it doesn't matter. And she doesn't care. Sydney Coulson does not care. And that's the biggest thing about Sydney Coulson, is that she gives you, and this is such an important part for someone who's not going to play that many minutes. She has championship experience. She has clutch championship experience. Like, Sydney Coulson has unbelievably clutch championship experience. She is, by her own like words, like she's the face. But like, Sydney Coulson is just such a big pickup. She was the main reason why they won in 2023. She stepped in game 4 and basically like came in for an injured Chelsea Gray, having to play huge minutes after barely playing at all in the regular season, barely playing the playoffs, and came in and balled out in game 4 of the finals. This is a huge signing. And I don't think people don't realize this, just how important those types of players are. Like, you have now got Coulson, who has been in the league since 2011, who's a 2-time champion, who obviously won an NCAA championship. But if you look, she stuck around the league for quite a while, and like, she was with the Aces with San Antonio Stars for a couple of years. Then obviously 2 unreal seasons for the Lakers where she was champion in both, and she never played that many minutes. That's the thing. It wasn't like she was out there playing big minutes, but she's somebody that is going to be a real vet, a real vet, and is going to probably play 6 minutes a game. 6 minutes a game and give you an unbelievable 6 minutes. She chose to play with the better 22. She left Aja Wilson to play on a minimum, almost certainly on a minimum, for Indiana. That's crazy. That is crazy. And I still think Indiana are not done in free agency, by the way. I still think they're not done. Because they still literally only have 1.5 point guards on their roster. Sydney Coulson can kind of play there a little bit. Like, and a lot of people are like, they cook Grace Berger for Sydney Coulson. I think the reason they have one more trade to make. They have one more trade to make because she's probably making, like, I think, what's Grace Berger on, like 80K? She's probably making like 20K less than Grace Berger. She's probably on the minimum contract. And on a minimum, Sydney Coulson. Like, Aces fans, Sydney Coulson's been blocked undue. Given the title they've won already. Not Kathy punishing her for this. Oh my god, dear Lord. They cut 25-year-old Grace Berger for Sid. They're not done. They're not done. Like, Sydney Coulson is going to be one of those last two off the bench. They're going to probably have one young player, Sydney Coulson, and they're going to do something with the Katie Lou money. Not your favorite. The fan favorite of the Aces going to Indiana. Like, that's the craziest part about this. This is the biggest shock so far. Yeah, this is the biggest shock in free agency. Players are tripping over themselves to team up with Clark in Boston. Indiana has added 3 players who've combined for 7 WNBA titles this offseason, and their other addition, Sophie Cunningham, still has finals experience, a clear priority to balance out the young, more inexperienced core. I mean, they're so old right now, this team. His team was like one of the youngest teams. There is, outside of Lexi Hull, Caitlin Clark, and like Leah Boston is not that old. Good for the locker room. Great for the locker room. Absolutely great for the locker room. We need to investigate this team. Like, Aces fans kept calling Sydney Coulson the face of the league just for her to end up playing with the real face of the league. Are they still going to call Sydney Coulson the face of the league now? The face of the league is now in Indy. They've got both faces of the league. Why are the Fever signing a genuine bench warmer? People don't understand the role of, like, I know your role bench warmer. Like, this is a big thing. And look, I still don't think she's going to be, like, high rotation minutes. I don't think she will be. Like, this is how much of a shock this is. I actually thought this was a troll. I genuinely thought this was a troll. I thought when I saw this, and I was like, is this Centel? Is this WNBA Centel talking about this? Was she hacked? That's how crazy this is. I was literally like, was she hacked? Because this was the most shocking. This was the most baffling one. This was the most shocking free agent signing. And now we're just waiting for the Indiana Fever has traded Katie Lou Samuelson to the Golden State Valkyries. Seeing what they get back for the Valkyries. Or if they get back anything. Because I still think they do need... But like, we all thought it was like people were competing for 2 spots. I reckon, wouldn't be surprised if they do something like give up. Maybe they give the Valkyries Christy Wallace and Katie Lou Samuelson. And then they give their 2026 first to get off both of their contracts. And then it means they can give it to a rookie big. Give a spot to a rookie big. They can use the rookie big and Sydney Coulson as their last 2 off the bench. And then you've got a backup big and a backup... backup big, backup point guard. And you can pay a little bit for that. And you've got Coulson there as just kind of a locker room player. Which would be still unbelievable. But yeah, this is the most shocking of every free agency decision. Genuinely is. I would be absolutely shocked. And I mean this, like, I'd be so shocked if she's in the main rotation as the backup. But still, this is genuinely one of the top like locker room free agency signings, and I actually cannot believe this happened. Of all the signings, we all talked about Tawana Bonner, we all talked about maybe Natasha Howard. People were talking about Sophie Cunningham. They were all surprises. But I mean this is like the biggest shock in all of free agency. Anyway, yeah, that is the video. I still think the Fever are not done. Because they are not going into next season with Katie Lou Samuelson. I would be so shocked. But anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.